What is this? Let's see what this argument
supporting
is.
J.K. Rowling is an act of hostility towards your trans friends. So obviously, don't buy Hogwarts Legacy. But also, just because something doesn't directly put money into—
Bro, it's like, listen, you want to know the truth? If this Hogwarts Legacy game is as good as like Chick-fil-A sandwiches are, nobody will give a about this, okay? That's just the reality. I don't know why people make like this into this like weird political perspective. Gay people and trans people eat at Chick-fil-A all the goddamn time. You want to know why? Because the chicken is good and the sauces are dank. Okay, that's it. What happened? What happened to the consumer side activism on that front? Because it doesn't matter ultimately. It literally doesn't matter. No one is going to go, oh man, this AAA title that is like going to literally be a blockbuster sales is going to have blockbuster sales that's like only tangentially associated with J.K. Rowling's IP that she created many years ago, that every single person who's like built a career around at this point is like abandoned J.K. Rowling. It'll get review bombed. It'll get review bombed by like Normans probably, and then it'll get counter reviewed by bombed by transphobes who'll give it like a 100%. It's like such a weird thing. So you are saying pre-ordering is transphobic, but once the reviews come out, it's okay? No. I'm not saying, dude, I don't think playing this game is transphobic. You're delusional. What? I never even said that. That was funny because like you didn't even accuse me of like, you know, being a bad person or anything. You just like made up something that was weird. That like I certainly didn't say at all, but also like it didn't even, I don't know. Imagine going to work. But guys, people said Cyberpunk was transphobic, okay? But the reason why people didn't end up playing Cyberpunk was because they were just unable to. And Cyberpunk was not transphobic. Like everything, like it's crazy. I just don't know. I don't know how to, like, I've argued about this shit a bunch of times. And I do think it's like ultimately counterproductive, silly and dumb. I don't know. Who cares?
I don't care.
SJWs, don't buy Hogwarts Legacy. J.K. Rowling is transphobic. I mean, most people are going to be like that. I don't care. SJWs, the game has anti-Semitic undertones and forces you to stop a slave uprising. I'm actually more interested in the anti-Semitic undertones and the fact that it like forces you to stop a slave uprising and covering that than anything else, really. When I think about it, I feel like that's way more interesting than like J.K. Rowling being a transphobe, which is like established. Everyone in here is spending so much effort rationalizing support for hateful people businesses because they just want to be mindless consumer drones that keep their treats. They want someone else to solve the problem. This is counterproductive in my opinion. Or they personally understand that like playing a video game or watching a movie is not activism, just like stopping yourself from watching a movie or playing a fucking video game is not activism. Which it isn't. Sorry to break it to all of you motherfuckers, but it's not. It is just like literally the most liberal way of looking at things, and it's built on the fundamental plank of powerlessness.
Into her pocket does not mean that she's not making money off of it. Whether it's a Harry Potter themed birthday party or a TikTok video, or you go around for an icebreaker saying your Hogwarts house, none of those things are going to actually give J.K. Rowling directly money. But what they do give her is cultural significance. Because if the people who decide what movies or games or books to make look at the world and see that everyone is still talking about Harry Potter, of course they're going to make more Harry Potter. They want money, and that's a great way to get it.
Yeah, most people also like Harry Potter, and they literally want to make more Harry Potter. What is J.K. Rowling's involvement with the game? Is this a new story? J.K. Rowling is not involved in the creation of the game, but as the creator of the Wizarding World and one of the world's greatest storytellers, her extraordinary body of writing is the foundation of all projects in the Wizarding World. This is not a new story from J.K. Rowling. However, we have collaborated closely with her team on all aspects of the game to ensure it remains in line with the magical experiences fans expect. Okay, well, the official FAQ literally still says, like, J.K. Rowling is goated. I feel like bullying people into not buying the game will have the opposite effect people think it would have. I feel like it would increase hatred. I just, like, all of that stuff is tangential. Or not tangential, sorry. All of that stuff is marginal, okay? It's marginal. It's marginal. It's not going to do anything. It's just going to individually annoy some people, okay? But those people are not going to become transphobic. They were already transphobic. Society is transphobic. Hello. Like, J.K. Rowling isn't transphobic because she like personally decided one day that a trans person offended her. She's transphobic because she's British and that's her culture. Okay? She can't stop herself from being transphobic. British people are so transphobic that even when Scotland's like, hey, yeah, like let's do something about this gender stuff, they're like, no, you will not. I will stop you. How dare you? Halt. Okay? That's just how it is. They can't stop. They can't stop themselves. Halt now. Cease. Austin, I summarized the pros and cons for you. Hasan plays Hogwarts Legacy. Most money raised for trans charity ever. Gets non-political streamers involved to support pro-trans message to their fans. Headlines about bigot J.K. Rowling's game being used for transgender activism. People donate even more despite J.K. Rowling. Some viewers find the game fun and buy it. J.K. Rowling's still a billionaire. Hasan doesn't play Hogwarts Legacy. No money for actual trans people. J.K. Rowling's still a billionaire. Well, people are still going to turn around and say it doesn't matter because, like, Hasan could raise money for trans people without playing this game, which is an adequate answer. Except if you're looking at it from a utilitarian perspective, if you're like that interested in this, then the reality is no, way more eyeballs when I play Hogwarts Legacy versus and way more money raised versus when I raise it on my own for some other shit. Also, one of the funniest parts about this is literally that Harry Potter and the franchise in and of itself is like pretty basic. Like, I loved it when I was growing up. Yeah, so it's not an adequate answer at all. Wait, no, I already gave it a counter. Yes, this is way more PR, way more media involved, directly cutting a message across it. Yeah, here's what I was talking about. It will be funny, though. It will be funny when people are just like, wow, Hasan is such a transphobe. Like, you know how it is. Hasan is such a transphobe. Look at him platforming J.K. Rowling. My main question is, do you think the game looks fun? I don't think it's transphobic to play it. I just think the game looks bad. Well, I did grow up with the Harry Potter franchise, so like part of me, I mean, you saw that when I went to Universal Studios, I, weebed out there. So it probably would be good. Damage done to leftism by continuing to paint us as anti-fun freaks does more damage than not playing helps, in my opinion. Yeah. Wow, I've never even heard of J.K. Rowling or Harry Potter until Hasan platformed them. Thanks. At least you don't have takes about the game like this, braindead. By buying this game, you support transphobic values. I say, as the metal in my cell phone used to record this video was mined by child slave labor. I mean, but that's not wrong. Like, sure, this is coming across like a reactionary take, but it's literally true. There is no ethical consumption under capitalism. He is right. The Ackman, whether or not he's reactionary or whatever the fuck, whether or not you like him, this statement is true. Every component of your life, and you have to recognize this at some point. Sometimes people who are right-wing or reactionary, I don't know if he is, but like those people sometimes make correct points. This is one of those instances. It's a correct point. It's just in the now, in the moment. He's saying this to defend consumerism and capitalism. When leftists say it has the same effect whether they want it or not. Yeah, I mean, it's just, you might be doing this to defend consumerism and capitalism, but ultimately it is the truth. It doesn't matter. Still the truth. Everybody loved when I played Call of Duty, and that shit was like baked in with an infinite amount of Western imperialist agitated propaganda. But now it'll become a point of discourse, and people will get like really annoyed, and people will say I'm transphobic, and people like in the QRTs or whatever, and then like every like random account, every random like sock them trans account that already hates me will have their opportunity to be like, Hasan sucks. He's always been a transphobe. 30,000 likes, whatever, yada, yada. I don't care about all that stuff. I do care about it as it impacts my mental health, obviously. I care about it to that degree because it does then also cuck the content a little bit when I do feel so sad because there's always like a sea of like hate rating coming in. Does anyone know if JK donates to anti-trans causes? What do you mean donate? She is the anti-trans cause. As a billionaire, she has set up anti-trans causes. For me, in particular, you mentioned not supporting Chick-fil-A and not supporting Harry Potter is the same. I think there's a difference, though, between the owner of the IP who has little control over the evolution of their work and a corporation donating to anti-LGBT organizations. Don't think they still do that. Wait, what? Chick-fil-A still absolutely does that. The guy who owns it does it. And ultimately, it doesn't matter because the chicken is good. J.K. Rowling also still does it, but doesn't have the same level of control over the IP that like the Chick-fil-A owner does.
There is no... Hi. There is no ethical consumption under capitalism.
She's right.
It's fair. Hi. Durf, thank you for the 2 months.
But yeah, no, J.K. Rowling is like a uniquely awful, uniquely evil person. But the reason why everybody talks about her all the time is because she's like Elon Musk. She can't shut the up. Do you know what I mean? If she just shut the up, shut her stupid mouth up, and just like lived in her castle or whatever the she did, instead of being the most smarmy, annoying turf on the goddamn planet, nobody would give a shit. That's it. That's why people are terminally online. Everything that we perceive as activism happens on the internet, and basically that's it. That's it. That's the reason. Saying J.K. Rowling is evil is a wild take, and that's coming from a pretty big snowflake myself. Wait, what? Dude, no, I think she objectively is a bad person. What the f do you mean? That's not a wild take. She unironically and objectively is an evil person. If you look to like one of the most universally marginalized communities and say, those guys are the villains that run society, and I'm going to do everything in my power to increase their suicide rates, you are literally, I don't even know what words to use when I'm talking about like how big of a scumbag you are, okay? You made billions of dollars off of an IP that like a lot of people loved, okay? And then you turned around and now use every moment of freedom that you have to just like shit on some of the most marginalized people in society. It's straight up evil. It's literally like turning around and being like, yeah, we should actually kill more babies in Yemen. You know what I mean? Like I'm pro baby murder in Yemen, actually, I've decided. I'm pro war on terror in Iraq that has led to higher birth defects than Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You know, that's what it feels like. It's insane. What she's doing is awful. She's an awful person. But it's not because... But there are plenty of awful people. The systems are designed in an awful way. What you fail to recognize is that it's not that she's also uniquely awful. She can't shut the up. That's the main reason. Because she thinks she's right. She's smarmy. And she's constantly going around and just chirping about how trans people suck. That's it. That's it. That's the big difference. That's what differentiates her from like every other British person. You know what I mean? Plenty of British people are TERFs. They can't help themselves. This is how they are. You know? It's just a fundamental part of being British. But like I said, I mean, this is a great example. The UK government blocking Scotland's new gender recognition law. Like TERF Island, dude. Going absolute bananas over here. At a time when like Scottish independence is actually becoming more and more prominent, the UK literally oversteps its boundaries and blocks a new law intended to allow trans people in Scotland to change their legal gender without a medical diagnosis. That's insane. What are they trying to do? Are they trying to get Scottish people to just like definitely want to leave? Like I feel like they hate, like a lot of Scottish people probably don't like trans people, I'm sure, you know what I mean? As is the case in most other places, but they really don't like British people, right? So we'll see. It'll be like two competing values. Who do we hate more? Trans people or the fact that like we're cucked to the English? For the record, like, you said cross-dress and play the Hogwarts game while raising money. I would love that. No, dude, are you kidding me? Then people are gonna get mad at me and say, people on Twitter literally said it's transphobic to cross-dress. No, that'll get people even more mad. Okay. I don't want to play this game because the creator thinks I don't deserve to exist. It may not make a difference, but it's funny to see all the reactionaries lose their minds over this take. I don't think it's just that. I think it's people saying, like, if you play this game, if you play a video game that is built on the IP of, like, a notoriously transphobic person, that means you hate trans people. And, like, most people don't want to recognize that, but, like, most people do hate trans people, I think. Like, that's just the reality. The unfortunate reality is that is the case, right? Or at most they are indifferent to trans existence, and then like when people chime in about how they are transphobic despite their indifference, they'll just be like, oh well, fuck you, that's not true, but you're being mean, I don't like that. But because they're slanted towards transphobia as it pertains to like the way our systems are designed, they're easily turned over to being like expressly transphobic. I'd say most people are indifferent to trans people in my culture. Yeah, there definitely seems to be more hate in the West. Oh yeah, for sure. I just can't believe you're siding with them after what they've done and caused is way more complicated than how you make it up to be. These issues are not black and white. Please have more consideration to what you're doing, Ya Zahrani. I think like people don't understand my nuanced position on consumer side activism in general and like liberalism in general as well. And this is not a new take.